All right, been gone for a while. Since the last time I was here, I have cut pieces to make the drawer, and if you look, I have everything marked, so that way I know how it goes within the drawer. This, you'll notice the back is quite a bit longer so far. We'll have to worry about that. There's edges are squared. These edges have two squares. They're not fitted properly yet. They're going to need to be shortened. But just so you can see what I'm doing, I've looked around to see how I want these pieces to go. So I got the triangles on the sides, on the front and the back, and that way I know they go in that configuration. But what I have to do now is take all those pieces and fit them to the box. So here's my front. It's still a little bit wide. Well, no, it's significantly wide. I've got a mark on here, so that way I know that's the reference angle that I'm working with. But before I do that, I want to, like right now, it just barely is not fitting in. So I'm going to take these pieces, including the two sides, and get them to fit in the box. Off camera, I have got my planes. I just sharpened them. I am going to work. Let's see if I can get this all on camera. I'm going to leave this right. Let's do that, so that way that's on camera. I got the top. I'm going to leave the top alone because I know that is square to the edge. So I'm going to work on the bottom. I'm going to take off just a couple of small shavings and staying as square as I possibly can. Once you take it off, can't put it back, you know? So going to do that. We'll go slowly. So that's going to fit in here. Not quite. And it's just a matter of trial and error until we get the side as is. And I could measure. I'm getting closer. I could measure it, but because everything was hand planed and everything is glued up, I did as best a job as I possibly can to keep everything square, but there's no guarantee it's going to be the exact. Okay, there you go. Look at that. Now it fits in. It's a little bit looser as towards the front, and you notice it is very close right here, so it does stick out a little bit. However, when I put the front on, this is going to stick out a little bit more. It's going to be a half blind dovetail, so I actually have a little extra room to work with. The heat and humidity right now is going to mean that all my wood is pretty swollen, and you can see how tight it actually is. So you know what, I'm going to even take another shaving off, but I am comfortable with that. My guess is once I bring this drawer inside, it is going to shrink down a little bit because, like I said, it is very humid out here. Because of the lighting, I can't see I can't see the humidity, but it's up. It's 70-80%, I think, but I can't quite see the numbers from here. All right, so that side is done. Same thing. I'm going to look over here, and not fitting. Going to do the exact same thing, and I have an idea about how many strokes it's going to take because I just did that other one. Normally I would pull the plane back, but on these narrow edges, you know what, I'm going to turn this around. On these narrow edges, I don't really like doing that. I feel like I'm more likely to come off the wrong way. And I want to try to keep this as square as possible. And if it's not perfect, that's fine, because at the end, I am going to take the box, going to take it as a whole, and then use every box corner to make it nice and square. So I'm doing the same thing, and it's just, I can barely squeeze it in. A couple of more strokes, and we should be good. And yeah, I'm not really, I got a little bit of tear out down there. not too worried because that is the bottom of a drawer that will pretty much never be seen. Yeah, little tight at this end here. So I'm going to try take a stroke there, a little farther back, and then I'm going to take one full stroke all the way through, and just really nothing like using a nicely sharpened plane. And now here we go. Look at the difference that just made. So that fits. That one fits. So we got the two sides to the depth that we want. Oh. Pull that in. Okay. Let's work on the front. Same thing. I could kind of gang them up, and I can now feel a difference. But in case this distance here on this side is a little bit bigger or less than this side over here, I want to do this one piece at a time. And it's only 4 pieces, won't really take that long. I am going to use the longer plane with this longer piece. There's a nice shaving that came off of there. Sharp tools. You guys ever want to get into hand tool woodworking? Learn how to sharpen. Can't stress that enough. Okay, so let's try it now. Yeah. That side. No, it's still catching. So let's get that off of camera for a second. Go nice and slowly. The mahogany has a tendency to have reverse grain and get all gnarly. So if you go push the plane through slower, it gives the wood shavings time to break. It's a way to help prevent some of the tear out. Like if you look at the bottom of that piece, you can see the chatoyancy, and that's from different grain directions. So I tried going both ways, and only one of them, one gives a little bit better than the other, but it's still going to be tear out's going to be a problem. I'll fix that at the end. It's just barely squeezing in. So a couple of more shavings, and we should be good with the front. You're going to get bold. Go with the third shave. Oops. All right, so that piece, it's tight. I could go with it, but I do think it's going to shrink, so I don't want to overtake too much because I don't want the drawer to be loose, but it's going to be too tight for me to work with. Once the humidity goes down outside a little bit, it should be better. It's going to be stored in my basement. That's where my desk is with all my writing materials, so chances are, it's humid, nowhere near as humid as out here, but less than the rest of the house. Okay, so that's fitting in quite nicely. Now we need to look to see here. Now, look right along this. There's no gap. You can't see any lines. So I know that is square. This is telling me that I verified this edge and this edge are square to each other. The fact that that's coming out, I'm really happy with that. So now I am going to I'm going to move myself around so I can see. I'm going to come right in here, and I want to make sure this is on camera. With my knife, I'm going to put my knife like right in the corner. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to come from the inside, and I'm going to mark it dead to length. So what this is showing me, can you see? What that's showing me is the exact length, and I don't want it to be that tight because if it swells a little bit, you're never getting it out. But I'd rather have the drawer to the exact length right now when I'm making it, because I can always take some off the outside and fit it perfectly. If it's too small, it'll never fit. And this is just a matter of, we've done this before. I'm looking for my reference edge. So right now I know that the top and the front are my reference edges. So where the beam of my square is going to sit on that. So light pass, a little heavier, and that was a pretty heavy cut. I like doing these smaller pieces in the vise. looking for my front, my reference edge. The knife goes in the knife mark I just made. Slide over the beam of the square. Okay. Nice corner. I'm going to now flip it, get the line on the front. Again, just put my knife right in that mark. Pulling it lightly to make sure I'm good. Yep. And you can probably see there's a lot of pressure between my pinky and ring finger, my thumb. I'm pulling that, compressing, and then these two fingers are going down. So that way the square stays nice and secure. And here, that's my reference face again. So the beam goes on the reference face. That way, you're always using the two faces. You're more guaranteed to keep things square. Because if you plane things out just a little bit, it gets compounded by the time you get all the way around. And this is, came out pretty perfectly. What I'm going to end up doing with the back, because like we said, the back is quite a bit longer. I'm going to cut this piece to length off camera, and then I'm going to use that and just mark it off the back. The back can actually be very slightly narrower than the front, and that'll cause the drawer to be like that's overly exaggerated. But if it's like that, if that's square, we're talking maybe like that. So that way the back is a little bit narrower. It just makes the drawer a little bit easier to slide. But what I'm going to do now is just the exact same thing I did over here, because the back side has got to be the exact same size as the front, or just a bit narrower. And again, still not there. I know how much I have to take off. That's going to be in the way. You know what? I feel like there's a little bit of a hump in there, so I'm going to take a little bit off the middle. And by doing that, by going just to the middle of that and planing that, this edge and this edge start riding on the board. So until that middle gets down and the blade protrudes just a little bit, so it's going to create a little bit of a hollow in there, and then I take it from one side to the other so that it hits on the one. Let me get that. It'll hit on the one side, skip in the middle, hit over here, and by the time it takes a full shaving, I know that I have a nice flat board, which is relying on the flatness of the sole, and I've taken a lot of time to make sure that is flat. So that's how you make sure that these are perfectly flat. So like if I put that on there, there is no rock. All right, and that is sitting in there nicely. This is my square edge. I could do the same thing here, and again, no line. I could do this. Yeah, you know what? I will do the same. I was gonna just cut it off of there, but it's here. We've got it all looking pretty good. I'm just gonna come right up, and theoretically, because we measured it off the same reference side, it should be the exact same length as this by the time I'm finished. These will get fitted a little bit more as we go on, because as I say, we're doing what's called a half-blind dovetail. Normally the sides would be the same length as the length of the board, but this is going to end up going, normally the pieces go all the way to the edge. A half-blind means it's going to stop right about there, and it's going to hide the dovetail on the front of the drawer. So this piece is going to essentially be a little bit longer when it's in there. So I will fit that a little bit better when I get to that point. Next step, I'm going to cut these to length, and then we start laying out some dovetails, some half-blind dovetails, which are arguably a little bit easier. They're a little bit different, and I'll do that on camera so that way you can see it. But it's good to be back. A little hot out here, a little hot and sweaty. I can see my cat out here joining me. He's actually hiding in the shade. And hopefully I will be back soon without such a long gap. I'm getting to a point where I think I can spend a little bit more time out here. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.